Hey, everybody. Chances are you're watching this on a replay because this is kind of an impromptu live stream. Truth be told, excuse me. Truth be told, the reason why I'm doing this live stream tonight instead of having a video on this is that my laptop that has all my editing software and had all my video for today and the video for tomorrow and the next day died on me this morning. And so I didn't have time to get everything downloaded and recreate it. So I just decided I'm going to do a live stream. I'm going to talk about what I was going to post today. And that is the fact, hang on one second. Drank some water right before this. I went live and it went down the wrong pipe and I'm sitting here coughing. Anyway, the reason why we're going to talk about the carnivore diet is as of today, I have been on the carnivore diet for 3 months. And I wanted to share my experiences with you and talk about the ups and downs and some of the stuff I've learned along the way. One thing I need to do, boom, we're going to put that ticker across the bottom so that nobody is confused. I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This discussion is for entertainment purposes only. I'm here to share my experience with you and hopefully not just for entertainment purposes, but so I can motivate you and get you moving in the right direction. Anyway, October 15th, my wife talked me into going on a carnivore diet. At that time, I weighed 281 pounds and some change. And as of this morning, I weighed 251. I have lost 30 pounds over the last 3 months using the carnivore diet. Now, a little bit of background. I have always had problems with my weight. I was a chunky kid. Thank God I was big and good at football because I was not going to outrun anybody. And I was not super agile as like gymnast type of stuff. I was a football player. I was always a big kid. Joined the Marine Corps and came out of boot camp weighing 185. And as soon as I started eating regular instead of boot camp food, I went right back up to 200 pounds. And I stayed there for the little shy of 10 years that I was in the Marine Corps. But I got out of the Marine Corps and I put on a lot of weight. And I have been up and down on constantly for the past 20 some years, 30 years. And oh, somebody just came in. Hey Sherry, how you doing? Matt, glad you guys can make it. In case you missed it, I had a video on this topic prepared today, and my laptop died, and I got 3 or 4 videos that are out there. I got to recover them. So anyway, I figured I'd just go live tonight and talk about it. But anyway, so I've always had problems with my weight, and I have been on almost every single kind of diet you could think of. And I actually ballooned up to 340 pounds at one point. And thank God I got that weight off. I used the low carb diet to get that off, but I could never keep it off. And I was always struggling with it. Well, anyway, I had my heart attack and it became real important that I lose weight. And I've gone up and down 20 pounds over the last 2 years. And I topped out at 281 back in October, started this diet, lost 30 pounds. And I really like bingo. Sherry said it exactly. Diets don't work, lifestyles changes do. And that's probably the biggest takeaway that I've got about the eating carnivore is it allowed me to change my lifestyle in a manner that I can maintain. If you're not, let's see, Matt, when I eat carnivore or when I eat keto and carnivore, I feel a lot better. Yes, I had the first week I was on the diet. Actually, I'm not even going to call it a diet anymore. The first week I started eating carnivore. I went through carb detox. I did not know that was a thing. seriously. And I had been on low carb. My carb intake on this diet, on days that I did not cheat, and that's something I'll talk about here in just a second, is those cheat days. But my carb intake on a regular day is probably close to zero. Um, and I feel good. Matt's absolutely right. Um, uh, oh, that's terrible. Hey, Starla, how you doing? But and I have felt better. I had that carb withdrawal flu, or the keto flu they call it, and I felt kind of cruddy for 3 or 4 days, and then it went away, and my blood pressure has gone down. In fact, last week it was better than it had been in about 30 years. Um, Probably a little too low, to be honest with you. My body wasn't really quite sure how to handle it, so I went out and got my blood pressure back up. Did a bunch of work, but and it's given me a lot more energy. It's made me feel better. And anybody that's watching this that doesn't know what the carnivore diet is, carnivore diet is the ultimate uh, low carb diet. Like I said, I cut carbs almost completely out, and you also, and so I got this from Dr. Ken Berry. I watch his videos about this when I was learning about it, but he puts forward that there are a lot of plant toxins in people's diets that they don't know that they're allergic to. Hey, Mrs. Ghetto, how you doing? But so you're also cutting all those plant toxins out. And first off, let's go back up in the chat. Cherry says, cheat days are a must. Don't deny any food. Just monitor what you do cheat with. Absolutely. My cheat days were Thanksgiving weekend and Christmas Day, and I felt terrible afterwards. I monitored it, but I hit that sugar. There were the Christmas was really hard because it was an Italian get together, and oh my God, the cannoli was so good, and all the Italian Christmas cookies. So I overdid it on the sugar, just plain and simple. And quite honestly, I said I started at 281. I'm at 251 now. Chances are, if it hadn't been for Thanksgiving and Christmas, I probably would have lost another 5 or 6 pounds easily. And then my other cheat days every now and then is I still have bourbon every now and then, and I'll still drink a low carb beer every now and then. Just not on a regular basis. It's just something that I enjoy having. So that was the big thing, was the cheat days and feeling bad. And quite honestly, after Christmas, it wasn't worth it. It really wasn't worth it. I could have eaten nothing but meat that day. Now, the one thing I did have on Christmas Day that I really enjoyed was the pickles and olive tray. I love pickles and olives, and I just macked out on those. But that, you're not gonna put on a bunch of weight eating pickles and olives on one day. But and it's one of those things that like Sherry said earlier, you gotta change your lifestyle, and this one allowed me to do it. I'm eating. On average, I'm eating 2 meals a day. I used to eat 3 meals a day, and I would snack in between. And obviously, that was not working for me. And now I'm literally down to 2 meals a day. One of the things on a carnivore, if you've never done it, is you eat until you're full, and you only eat when you're hungry. And Sherry's cheats is chip dip and ginger ale. Ginger ale's got a lot of sugar in it, and some of those chip dips got sugar, unless you're making it yourself. So the 2 meals a day, and I'm not starving, and that was the big thing when I was on the low carb diet, or any of those other crazy diets that I was on, was I was always hungry. And not anymore. I eat breakfast before I go to work, and I come home and I eat something right then after I get home. And then I might have a couple of slices of cheese. Yes, processed cheese. I admit that's not That's not a healthy snack. I realize that, but uh, I love eating it. Oh, Starla, you weren't in here when I was talking about it. So the carnivore diet is the ultimate low carb diet, and you're literally cutting carbs completely out of your diet. Well, as much as you can. I mean, there's always some natural carbs in your diet, but you always strive to uh, eat nothing but protein, and it's if it runs, swims, or flies, it's on the menu. Uh, you're killing me, Sherry. Cheeseburgers too, chips and ginger ale and uh, cheeseburgers. Man, okay. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. There's times the guys at work, they go out and they they get their lunches, they bring them in. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes some of the stuff they bring back. There's a local restaurant that's got they do homemade house fries and homemade potato chips that just smell so decadent. It's not even funny. But yeah, so yeah, it is. I do get tempted, but I'm not snacking on it. Anyway, some of the changes that I've noticed, and okay, we're talking about our body, so there's gonna be some stuff in here that might be I don't know if it's too bad. You guys just say so in the chat, and I'll change the subject. But changes in my body. My sleep rhythm has gotten better. Like I said, my blood pressure's gotten better. I've got way more energy than I used to have. Even living off of 5 hours of sleep every night, I've got way more energy. Now the one thing that changed, this is the one that's kind of gross, is my bathroom schedule. It used to be every morning, like clockwork, do it and be done. And now, I guess it's, if you ever fed your dog an all meat diet, they don't go poop as often, and it's hard and compact, and it's not runny and not like what we are used to. Oh, Starlet. So nothing that slithers, that rolls out. All right. You know what? It's an animal. So yeah, you could eat it. You eat turtles too. I had turtle when I was a kid, and I've not been able to talk Yoda into having turtle soup. I actually liked it. But anyway, so here I wanted to show you. I wanted to share something with you guys. So I went out. I'm not one for taking pictures of myself and doing it. That's why this whole YouTube thing is kind of weird for me, because I don't like taking pictures of myself. But here's a picture. That is me from our live stream on October 11th, and compare that to what my face looks like now. I've lost a lot of inches. In fact, I was telling Yoda the other day that if I lose too much more, I'm going to have to go buy new pants, because everything's getting way too big. Too bad the apocalypse isn't going on right now, because then I could wear the baggy clothes and everybody would think that I'm starving like everybody else, when all I'm doing is losing weight. Starlet Rabbit is on the menu. There's something special about that we're going to talk about in a little bit. I've got the 15 mistakes that people make on the carnivore lifestyle by Barry. He did a video, and I'll put a link. I'll put a link to it down in the description whenever the live is done, because it's a really good overview of basically how to do the carnivore as it is. Okay, here you go, Starla. Add to stream. Yeah, Sherry, I drink probably, well, my cup here, I've got one this size at work, and I will go through probably 80 to 100 ounces of water from the time I wake up to the time I come home. I try to start, unless I've been outside working and it's hot. I try to lay off it before bedtime because I don't like getting up in the middle of the night to relieve myself. I have a hard enough time sleeping as it is with the dog and everything going on. But it is what it is. Starla, so you just eat meat, no veggies or beans? Nope, no veggies, no beans, no pasta, no nothing. It's straight meat. Now, the one thing, well, hang on, before I talk about that, let's start on the oh yeah, sure. I seriously, I feel better. I feel better in my gut than I have in a long time. Let's talk about these 15 mistakes that Dr. Berry talks about, because they are really helpful. And really, the first time I watched the video, it really struck home with me. Yeah, 30 pounds as of today. Oh, Starlight, I always look tired. Even when I'm full of energy, I always look either tired or grumpy. Yeah. So yeah, that's just me. I can't help it. Anyway, so the 15 mistakes. Number 1, forgetting that eggs, seafood, and butter are on the diet. So you're supposed to eat everybody says eat meat. And actually what you're eating is not strictly meat. You're eating animal proteins and fats. So a lot of people will cut seafood and eggs and butter out of their diet because it's not what they traditionally think of as meat. In fact, the one thing he talks about in the video that comes from an animal that he suggests laying off of when you're doing carnivore is honey. And he makes the argument, and I really don't like this because I love honey. He makes the argument that honey is bee vomit, and he doesn't recommend eating any animal's vomit. Honey is a fantastic food. It's got medicinal value. It's got healing properties. It's extremely it's got an extremely long shelf life. The problem is when you're eating carnivore is it's loaded with carbs, and it will add carbs back into your diet quicker than anything. So as much as I love some fresh honey, I try to stay away from it. Number 2, eating too lean. Okay, Starla, you mentioned rabbits earlier. Rabbits are an extremely lean meat, and when you're eating a carnivore lifestyle, you should have a 2-to-1 protein to fat ratio. So as you can see, you're eating some pretty fatty foods. Matt says Dr. Berg is another great guy to watch. He has loads of good info. I'm gonna go. I'll hang on. Let me write that down. Dr. Burge. Okay. I'll go check him out after this is over. Always looking for some good advice on it. But anyway, so when you're eating carnivore, you need to make sure that you're eating a lot of a 2-to-1 ratio of protein to meat. And with the rabbit, fantastic animals for protein production on the homestead. The problem is they're so lean that if all you eat is rabbit meat, they call it rabbit starvation is what it is. And you can actually starve yourself to death because you're not getting enough fat. Sherry, the bacon wrapped around the bunnies, yes, that is a fantastic. Actually, I found on this diet that bacon with anything just ups it up a level, and it makes it just that much better. So that's the second one. People eat too lean. Third thing, not getting enough electrolytes. Boy, I say this late in the evening. Not getting enough electrolytes. Now, this is something that I've had a hard time with since I started. I didn't realize what the cause of it was until a couple of weeks ago when I watched Dr. Berry's video. I've been getting leg cramps. I've been getting cramps in my calves specifically, and I had them off and on. When I was in the military, you'd get them because you weren't you're out sweating a lot, and when I was playing football, you'd get cramps, and so you're taking salt tablets, and I realized I wasn't getting enough electrolytes. So I've tried to rectify that by making sure I've added a little bit more salt back into things, because I was when I had my heart attack, Yoda took salt completely out of my diet for a while, and the only salt I got what was naturally in the food, and it helped it helped my blood pressure go down. Um, but since I've been eating carnivore, I've added a little bit of salt back into the diet, and it hasn't affected my blood pressure adversely at all. Um, yeah, Matt, you're right. You can drink too much water. It's kind of hard to do, but you can. Uh, well, go do your chores. I'm sure Mr. Ghetto will appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. Seriously, I enjoy it. I enjoy it when you're in the chat there, Mrs. Ghetto. Um, but anyway, so that's one thing you need to do is make sure you're getting enough electrolytes. Number 3, not getting enough omega-3 fatty acids. This goes back to people forget that eggs and seafood are on the menu, so they quit eating those foods. And you're right. I mean, there's always a small amount of omega-3 in everything you eat. Just in order to stay healthy, you need more than what your normal mammalian protein or your meat has. So the omega-3s, you need to keep it, and it helps your heart, and it just all kinds of good stuff. Off the top of I used to know exactly what omega-3 did. If anybody in the chat wants to pipe in and give the rundown on the omega-3s, have at it. But so if you're going carnivore, make sure you're adding those eggs and the eggs and the seafood back into your diet. Make sure you're eating them. Yes, salmon is and Yoda makes the best baked salmon. Oh my gosh, she does such a good job. Her dad taught her, and I could sit down, I could eat that whole thing at one sitting if I put my mind to it. Again, blueberries aren't on the menu. I wish they were. I'm probably next fall I will fall off the carnivore for a little bit, because when the peaches and the apples and the pears come into fruit on the trees, I'm eating some peaches, I'm eating some fresh apples, and I'm eating some fresh pears. I can't walk away from that. Yeah, Sherry, you know what? There's just so much information out there, and trying to remember everything anymore is just it's a chore, isn't it? The next thing that's on the 15 mistakes that people make, they don't eat organ meat. Now I have been ever since Marine Corps boot camp, I have been a liver and onion fan, and the heart venison heart is the second best cut of meat out of a deer, as far as I'm concerned. The back straps being the first, and then the heart. But I've always, since I went to boot camp, I've always eaten organ meat, and especially since we started butchering our own animals. I ensure that I keep the kidneys, the liver, the heart. I actually, since I got on carnivore, we have not butchered a large, we haven't butchered a ruminant since I went on carnivore, and we're going to do one in February, and I'm going to explore exactly how far you can go eating the organ meat on the animals. Because the lungs have always gone to the dogs, and some of the other things have always gone to the dogs, and I've never got into the cranial cavity and tried the brains or the eyeballs or the tongue or anything. Hey, Independent Mary, how are you? But so you need to make sure you're adding that organ meat in, and the reason why you want that organ meat in there is because they're chocked full of the vitamins and minerals that you need. You get your iron from the liver and the heart, and just you need to make sure you're adding it in there. And not eating enough organ meat kind of slips into one that's further down the list, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Um, the next one is not enough collagen. Okay, now this one. Hang on before we talk about pickled heart, livers, and onions. I grew up on organ meat. Tongue is tender and delicious. Heart, liver, and kidney tacos. Absolutely. I remember my grandfather. He's a child of the Depression, and he would have scrambled eggs and fried cow brain or sheep brain. Just depends on what was in the freezer. But he would have that for breakfast at least once a week. Grandma, and as a kid, it was gross. But as an adult, I'm like, okay, I'm missing out on a whole plethora of stuff that I can eat and is healthy for me. And I'm not sure that I would be going down that rabbit trail of seeing how much the animal we could eat if it weren't for this diet. So seriously, you talk about a lifestyle change. Sherry mentioned it earlier, and so it is a lifestyle change. What do you? What we have beef liver, heart, tongue in the freezer. Trying to bring myself to try it. Okay. Now here, before we go on to the collagen thing, the organ meats. Preparation is key. You cannot just take and throw it into a pan and fry it up. You have to prepare the stuff properly. Tongue needs to be slow cooked so you can get that membrane off it, so you can get to the inside of the tongue. The liver, if you want to get rid of that irony taste, the reason why livers taste like iron is because they're chock full of blood. So you soak it in milk. The milk will help tenderize it a little bit, and it'll pull all the blood out. And you might have to, I used to soak it for almost 24 hours in a bowl of milk before I cooked it. But anymore, I like it just fresh. Independent Mary, how does carnivore differ from keto? Carnivore is keto on steroids. Seriously, a low carb diet will take you down to somewhere between 20 and 40 carbs a day, and a keto carnivore diet eating carnivore. I got to get away from saying diet, but eating carnivore will take you down to some days zero carbs. One of the things that Dr. Berry says that you have to do whenever you start eating carnivore is you've got to become a food detective or an ingredient detective. And you actually have to look at what's in everything you eat, because modern manufacturing, they add grains and they add corn syrup and they add all kinds of stuff into these products that they call them natural flavors, but they're just sugars and grains, and it makes it taste better, and it does. Honestly, the additives that they put in makes it taste better. But it's if you're trying to stay strictly carnivore, you got to watch what you're doing. And that's one of the things on this diet too. I should have mentioned it earlier. I'm eating carnivore. I'm not fanatical about it though. There's times that there's something slips in, usually in the forms of sauces or something, that I'll eat it. I don't care. Yoda's cooking for me, and I appreciate it. And she puts some stuff on there. Like the other day, she made kung pao chicken, and she put some kung pao sauce on it, and it was phenomenal. I went nuts, and I had like 2 great big helpings of that before I was stuffed. Now, on the flip side of that kung pao sauce was full of sugar, and I paid for it the next day. Let's see. Starla says better than roast beef. I skin off the membrane before cooking. See, and Starla, that's why I say if you throw it in the slow cooker, and cook it all day long, it'll just peel right off. It's tough getting past it. Here's Matt. Here's a something to try. Go look up. There's a recipe for a dish called country loaf, and basically what it is, it's pork and then a bunch of organ meats, and you basically line a cake pan or like a bread pan, one of those 9-inch bread pans. You line it with bacon. You take the pork and all the organ meat and you grind it up and you stuff it in there, and then you wrap the bacon over the top, and then you bake it. And it turns into, you can cut it into slices. It becomes like a really thick, hearty meatloaf, and it's a good way to get all that tongue and the heart and all that stuff in there. If you don't want to have the tongue by itself, because I'm not gonna lie, it's and Starla, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's really easy to make tongue not taste good, at least in my experience. Maybe I was doing it wrong, but it's really easy to make it not work right. In fact, the first time I tried it, I overcooked it, and it stank up the kitchen, and Yoda would not let me cook tongue for about 6 months before after that. But so anyway, okay, so let's get back. We are on, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're on number 6. Not enough collagen. Okay, this is one that I did not know about. And in fact, it just never even occurred to me. There's a lot of collagen in plants apparently, and if you're cutting them out, you need to make sure that you're getting it where you can get in your protein. And and if you crack open an egg, there's that membrane between the yolk and the shell. That's pure collagen. If you're eating chicken, the cartilage is collagen. And Angela makes fun of me because I grew up, we did not have a lot of money. I didn't realize we were poor until I got older, but we ate poor people stuff. And so fried chicken was a staple in our house. And I will eat a chicken down to the bone, seriously. And I will eat the cartilage and everything off of it, because it's just something I grew up doing, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the taste. And she's kind of broke me the habit. I also used to break the bones open and suck the marrow out too, but she didn't like me doing that at the table. But so you need to make sure you're getting enough collagen into your diet, and the collagen helps with your skin. And if you're like me, I need it. I need the help. I need as much help as I can get. If you ladies that go on carnivore, make sure you're getting enough collagen in your diet. The next one is imitation seafood. This one's a sore point with me. This one, we follow this because Yoda, the only imitation seafood that is allowed in our house is when she needs crab for crab dip, and that's the only imitation stuff that's allowed in our house. And even the imitation crab it's still fish. It's just, hey Virginia, how you doing? Yes, chew that fat, absolutely, man. There's nothing like that little piece of gristle on the end of the T-bone where it gets nice and crunchy. Oh my gosh, that's so good. But getting back to the imitation seafood, and I hate the fact that they do this to people. They will put grains and all kinds of stuff into the imitation seafood, and it's usually in the really highly processed stuff where it's there. But yeah, I guess it makes it more affordable for people. But it's a sore point with me because I hate. I take that. Let me rephrase that. It's a sore point with me because I love my seafood. I love fresh seafood. When we were in Washington, D.C., we were on a very strict budget. We were living $25 a week after expenses and feeding the baby and putting diapers on him. Her and I were eating $25 a week. $100 a month is what we were eating. And she used to go down. I worked at the Navy Yard in D.C., and she would go down before she picked me up because I only had one vehicle. And she would go down to the docks underneath the I-95 bridge there off the Potomac, and she would get fresh seafood. Let's see. Oh, pressed fish is a blasphemy. Yeah, absolutely. So she's the one that got me eating seafood. I was never a big seafood eater till we got married, but I still remember she made me a freshly grilled mahi mahi that was just off the chart good, and I was hooked ever since. And it doesn't hurt that she's a good cook. Seriously. The next one, okay, this goes back to something we were talking about earlier. Sauces, rubs, marinades, and gravies. Most of your commercial marinades and rubs and sauces all have sugar in them, loaded with sugar. Going back to that Kung Pao stuff that she put on there, loaded with sugar, ketchup, and I'm a big. Okay, one of the things you got to realize as you talk to any vet, and there are two things in the mess hall that are staples that they have to have: ketchup and Tabasco sauce or some sort of hot sauce. So, in fact, I used to drive Angela mad because I would put ketchup on steak, no matter how it was cooked, no matter what the quality of the meat was, no matter what it was, I would put ketchup on it. And it took her about 12, 15 years to break me of that habit, and it was just something from being in the military. Yeah, Virginia, sugars and MSG. So we usually the MSG thing. Yoda's allergic to it, and she actually has to keep an EpiPen with her in case she accidentally runs across some MSG. And the sauces and stuff, we always. I know. It's like I said, it took me a long time to break myself of it. Now the only thing I put on it is every now and then I'll put some Worcestershire sauce on it. Just love that little bit of salt in that Worcestershire on that meat just makes the flavor pop for me. But that's been one of the big things that I've dealt with on the last 3 months is the sauces and rubs and marinades. I really not a big gravy eater unless it's mashed potatoes, so that really wasn't a big thing. But the barbecue sauce and ketchup and the marinades, really hard to break the habit of that. Now the one thing that I found on this diet, speaking of the sauces and rubs and everything, as Americans, we over season our food to such a degree it's not even funny. And I did not even realize it until I started doing this and I really started paying attention. I have cut so much seasonings out of my diet that I'm actually tasting the food. Now, salt, a little bit of salt in your food will enhance the flavor. And so my staples now are cracked pepper, Redmond salt, and in fact, if you're going to eat salt, that Redmond salt is the one that I recommend. In fact, I'm so into them that I went out and I was actually trying to become an affiliate of theirs, so that I could push their product on our channel. That is, in my book, that's the best salt out there. Period. Virginia, you know what? I've found vinegar. I've started using it more. I used to take a shot of it every morning for my gut health, but I quit doing that. And I get my vinegar fix when I cook my eggs in the morning. Angela made a bunch of pickled garlic, so I will take two little cloves of pickled garlic. In fact, that's the only vegetable that I eat, is those 2 cloves of garlic, and I'll crush them and I'll throw them into the eggs when I'm cooking them, and I'll get that little bit of vinegary taste in it. And lemon juice, I've got a little bit of fresh lemon juice right here. I gotta admit the giving up the lemonade and the Kool-Aids and stuff like that. I really like those things. Seriously, the little single serving ones you just pour in your drink. I would go through those so much. Yeah, Virginia, she's a little mad at me right now because you missed it earlier. One of the reasons why I'm doing this live tonight instead of showing a video of this conversation is because my laptop died this morning, and she had a cooking video for a really good spinach soup that was going to go up tomorrow, and I'm off work tomorrow because of the holiday, so I'm not going to be able to recover my laptop until Tuesday at work. A little mad at me because her video went away for the time being, but hopefully I can recover it and get it up on there. So the sauces, rubs, marinades, and gravies. If you're doing carnivore, you need to be really aware of that. The next one is eating at. Sorry about that. Starlink strikes again. But what I was saying is, I'm going to classify holiday meals at somebody else's house as eating at a restaurant because it literally falls into the same category in that um, unless you make special requests, you're going to have a hard time eating carnivore. Um, one, here's my thing: if you go to a restaurant, number one, don't go to fast food restaurants because everything on there, there's nothing at any fast food restaurant um, that is healthy for you, and that's coming from a guy that the perfect meal for fast food is a Whopper and uh, Sonic tater tots and Chick-fil-A's lemonade. That's a perfect fast food meal for me. So you can tell I've given lots of thought to it, but so stay away from that. But if you go to a restaurant, you should be able to ask the people. You should be able to ask them to uh, prepare a carnivore dish for you. And if they refuse to do it, I probably would walk out. And it's just a matter of customer service. We've been out. We had people we had a bunch of freesteaders over the last 2 or 3 months coming into town, and we would get together and we'd go to a local restaurant, and they've got fried chicken a la carte, and I know that the breading's not good for me, um, but I can get it. And I can eat my fill, and it's not going to kill me. And it goes back to what Sherry was talking about. The cheat days are a must. So sometimes it's okay to do it. Don't beat yourself up, but just know this that you should be able to ask for something special. Virginia Root says, I was a restaurant server and bartender for years. Go somewhere with a la carte options. Jinx. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the problem is like this place that we go to here in the town that's nearby. Um, I did not know that they had a la carte until I asked for the chicken dinner. I said, but I only want the chicken. I don't want the rest of that stuff. And she's like, well, I can put that a la carte and you can just pay for the chicken by the piece. And I was like, oh, game on. Bring me four fried chickens. But so you should be able to ask for what you want. The next one, quitting too soon. Um, Dr. Berry makes the point that 2 to 3 weeks is not long enough for the carnivore diet or keto diet, if you're doing keto, for it to kick in. And he made the point that some people get that keto flu and they're like, oh, this isn't for me. And you have to power through that and you have to give it time. Now, like I said, I've been on it for 3 months and I feel great. I'm going to stick with it. In fact, aside from whenever the fruit comes in, like I said, I will probably stay on it as long as I can. Seriously, I'm on track now by June to weigh what I weighed when I got out of the Marine Corps, which is really exciting for me. And this is the first time since I got out of the Marine Corps when I've going through all those crazy diets actually feel like it's a goal I can reach. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna stay on it. So if you try keto or carnivore, just stick with it. Get through that carb withdrawal that you're gonna have, and stay on it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, or however long you till you reach your weight. Um, it is a lifestyle change, and if you get off it, you're gonna have to change your lifestyle again, and you're gonna have to be more aware of what you're eating. The next one, protein restrictions. This one, this one is something that is health industry and cultural in our country. We're told we're only supposed to eat this much of something or this much of something. Um, on the carnivore diet, and this is one of the things I love about it. You eat until you're full, and then you stop eating. And it used to be back 100,000 years ago when our ancestors were living in caves and chasing animals down with sticks and rocks, that they would eat their fill and they would go to bed. They would go take a nap, and then they would wake up and wash, rinse, repeat, and that was their life. Um, so you eat until you're full. You eat until you're full, and I'll tell you what, that was the game changer for me, because I'm not walking away from the table. In fact, I used to walk away hungry, and that would cause me to snack, and that would cause me to the next time I ate, I would overeat, and I'd feel crappy afterwards. Um, so that was the big game changer for me, is I can eat till I'm full, and like I said, I'm only eating 2 times a day, but I'm getting my fill, and I'm not walking around hungry all day long. All right, the next one, and this is a hard one for me too, and you'll understand why in a second. Processed meats, like we talked about earlier, the imitation seafood and the sauces and rubs and everything. Processed meats, they are full of grains and full of sugars. They make it so they're less expensive and more tasty for people. Here's here's one of my downfalls. This is where I'm having a problem on the carnivore diet. I love dirty water hot dogs. And if you don't know what dirty water hot dogs is, that's where you bring the water to a boil, and you put the hot dogs in, just like what you get off a food cart in a big city. It's dirty water hot dogs. Um, I love those things, and I love Spam. I grew up on Spam, and I love fried Spam. And those are probably two of the worst foods you could get if you're on any sort of healthy kick, whatever. Um, you can eat them in moderation. You can become that food detective, ingredient detective, and go out and figure out what's in those hot dogs. You can actually get all beef hot dogs or all turkey hot dogs. The all beef ones are awesome, and the kosher hot dogs will not have all the additives and stuff in them if they're legitimately kosher. Like I said earlier, be on the lookout for the natural flavoring stuff in it. Who was it? Sherry said she could snack on bacon all day. Oh, absolutely. And Yoda made that bacon that we were talking about on the live stream the other day, and that is so good. It's better than that first bacon that we made last year. Love dirty water hot dog, fried Spam, and musubi. So what's musubi? Fried Spam. What's that one, Virginia? I don't think I've ever heard of that. It's got to be some Oriental, or Hawaiian. It's Hawaiian, isn't it? I'm just guessing. Hopefully she'll clue me in, because it sounds like I need to give it a try. So be on the lookout for what's in those processed meats, bologna, even the packaged deli meat has sugar in it. And if you get in deli meat from a big grocery store, chances are it's been injected with either sugar or salt. Musubi is a chunk of fried Spam marinated in teriyaki and wrapped in seaweed. Yes, Hawaiian. Oh, okay. Oh, nice. That sounds delicious. Spam sushi. Okay. I'm tracking on it. That may have to give that a try someday. The next one, salt restriction. We talked about that earlier in conjunction with the not getting enough electrolytes. Um, Salt is a big no-no in a lot of doctors' offices and stuff. And it was, like I said, I was eating so much salt that it was bad for my heart. You know, so you need to make sure that you're getting a healthy amount of salt whenever you're eating carnivore. Don't go overboard, but don't cut it completely out either. Next one, overcooking. This is number 14, by the way. Overcooking. If you overcook your meat, if you overcook any protein, you're destroying the nutritional value in it. Dr. Berry makes a point. We have a built-in bacteria detector on our body. It's called our nose. If you're our ancestors used to eat raw meat. They didn't cook it. You know, steak tartare came off the plains of Mongolia. Horse flesh between the saddle and the horse, and they rode on it all day long, and then they ate it raw. Too many people overcook their meat, and it just drives me nuts. Somebody ordering a well done steak. That in my book, ordering a well done steak is even more sacrilege now than putting ketchup on it. So don't overcook your meat. It makes a huge difference in the nutritional value of it, and personally, it makes a big difference in the taste. I love, you know, my ideal cut of meat is so rare that it seems like they put it on a plate and ran through a hot room with it. You know, that's how rare I like my beef, especially. Yoda made some pork chops tonight that were just perfect. Oh, sure. You need to find a steak tartare recipe, a good steak tartare recipe, and do it. You know, but I also, oh, Matt, and you're still married? God, you're a saint. Well done with ketchup. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If I'm someplace and somebody makes a well done steak, because it does happen, you know, you're at a barbecue or something, I will lather it up with ketchup just to make it palatable. But she made pork chops tonight that were just as tender as could be. They were perfectly cooked. They were just the other side of pink. You know how that pork turns white whenever you cook it just right. They were just right at that point, and they were so delicious. Again, you know, but there was chutney on it, and I didn't look at the label on it. She says that's how Trump eats it, so it must be okay. You know what? I'm not so sure we should be looking at politicians for any sort of advice. Seriously. As soon as he goes on a carnivore diet, then we'll talk. Okay, finally, we're to the last one. Number 15. Taking lots of supplements. Okay, this is one that I have not done good on here, and let me explain why. So after I had my first heart attack, I went and saw a health and wellness doctor, and it was right after the coof got really big, and everybody was freaking out about it. And yeah, Starley, you know what? Mine is it. If I stick a fork in it, it should whinny. That's how rare it should be. But anyway, so the doctor put me on supplements to help ward off the coof, and to get he did a full body scan, sent my stuff off to Johns Hopkins for it to be for them to run the tests on it, and gave me a complete rundown of what my body was missing. So I've been on this regime, and it has done me well for the past 2 years. I'm not gonna. If anybody wants to know what I'm taking some stuff that has kept the coof at bay for the most part. I think I've since I started this, I think I may have caught it once. I'm not sure, but I have not had the full blown losing my taste buds and doing all crazy stuff that everybody always talks about. It was like a 3-day feeling crappy, but it wasn't the flu type of crappy. It was something else. So taking lots of supplements, you don't need them because, like I said, your organ meats are full of everything the body needs. You should be getting outside and getting enough D3 from the sunlight. I know it's kind of hard in the wintertime, but we need to make sure that we're getting outside. Sherry says her vitamin C, D with magnesium and collagen. Yeah, mine are B12, C, take zinc, and what's the other one? D3. I still take D3 even though I'm outside. The good thing, all the supplements that I'm taking though are water soluble, and if your body will pass them through, once you're topped off on all these vitamins, it'll pass through when you vacate yourself. Bone broth, shiny drops of chicken. Yep, that bone broth. I love that that little shine of grease across the top of it. Oh man, that's so good. And does that got collagen in it too? I think that's got collagen in it too. But I've done away, going back to how we cook now. We did away with all well, she still uses olive oil, which is a heart thing for me. So I'm not complaining about that because she doesn't go overboard with it. But I've started using either butter or sheep tallow for my fat. If I have to put fat, like I'll do steak strips, and I'll put either butter or the tallow in there, and I'll use it to crisp up the outside and add some extra fat to it. But the big one that Dr. Berry mentioned was fiber. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, making sure you're getting enough water, understanding that your bathroom schedule may change, like mine did. And it's not a bad thing. The only downside is these low flow toilets are not friendly to carnivore people. I'm just gonna leave it at that. They're not friendly. They add all kinds of hoops you got to jump through, so to speak. But anyway, so that's the 15 mistakes that Dr. Berry says people made, and those are the ones that I mentioned. The not enough electrolytes, not enough collagen, the sauces and rubs, the eating at restaurants, the processed meats. Those are the ones that I had a hard time with. The rest of them were easy peasy for me. And even the hard time ones, the only one that affected me physically was the not enough electrolytes. And the one that I've had a hard time kicking are the sauces, rubs, and marinades. Fat doesn't add fat to your body. Sugar does. Absolutely. And the American people are addicted to inexpensive sugar. I was amazed. So one of the heart meds that I am not a doctor. Look at that banner going across here. If you've made it, if you're watching this on the replay and you've made it this far into the conversation, look at that banner. I am not a doctor, so do not take this as medical advice. This is what I did. So I was on a drug called metoprolol, which was a beta blocker, and I was on it. They put me on it immediately after my first heart attack, and I never felt the same after the first one. After the second one, it was worse, and they upped my dose of metoprolol. Well, Mrs. Hacks from Hacks for the Homesteader and I were talking one day, and she mentioned something about the side effects of metoprolol. And so I went and I looked them up, and everything that was going on in my life was a side effect of metoprolol. The losing memory, the hard time sleeping, the just all kinds of stuff. I quit taking it. I did some research, and I found that alpha blockers, which are all natural stuff, will do the same thing as beta blockers. You just gotta make sure you add them into your diet. So before I went on carnivore, I dropped the metoprolol and I started eating all these alpha blockers. And yeah, big P is no bueno, absolutely. But anyway, when I cut the sugar out, after I dropped the metoprolol, my head space cleared up, and I started feeling better, and I wasn't as tired all the time. I was literally sitting at work, falling asleep in my chair. That's how bad it was. But when I got off the sugar over the last 3 months, same thing. I same exact thing. I'm a lot clearer than I was before, and I'm not as get angry, the mood swings and stuff because the sugar levels are going like this, and yeah, just cut that sugar out. And um, the natural sugars in fruits and everything are perfectly fine for you. It's when we add processed sugar to it, and we add stuff like that. And I'm a hypocrite. We at Grumpy Acres are hypocrites on this now. Well, we're not hypocrites, but we were not practicing what we're preaching now. Because when we got all those raspberries back last fall, all the canning that we did and all that stuff, we went through 40 pounds of sugar doing all that stuff. And we're selling that stuff at festivals and giving away as gifts and everything. But so I fully admit, we're not preaching, or we're not practicing what we preach on that. But if one of the things about having free will and living in America and being freedom minded is, if somebody wants to stuff that stuff down their gullet, man, who am I to stop them? So I wouldn't recommend it at this point in my life. I wouldn't recommend it. But if somebody wants jams and jellies, and I'm not gonna lie, there's times I miss it. Matt says doctors don't fix the problem; they hide it with medication. Amen. I worked at a hospital for 17 years, and I saw nurses and doctors that were let go when they tried treating the cause and not the symptoms, because treating the cause costs more money and takes more time. And the whole purpose of the hospital system is to get patients in and out as quickly as possible and charge as much as possible. That's just plain and simple. And I say that the hospital system, I'm not talking about individual doctors and nurses. I worked with some very conscientious people, some very, very good doctors and very conscientious nurses. And, they kept me alive twice. My first heart attack, and then I had a blood clot about 6 years ago that should have killed me. That didn't, because I got good care from the hospital I worked at. Yeah. The system is an MLM. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But so when I talk about the evils of the hospital system, don't think I'm talking about individual nurses and stuff, and doctors. Because there are good ones out there. And if you can find a good one, that was one of the things about that wellness doctor that I liked. Number one, he didn't make anybody. It wasn't until OSHA contacted him and threatened to remove his business license that he started making his staff wear masks. And that was a good year and a half into it. Somebody ratted him out. He made the front page of the newspaper, and they didn't have a mask on, and somebody ratted him out to OSHA. So he did that because he wanted to keep his license so he could help people. But he never made patients do it. And he flat out told me, he said, if you take the thing, chances are you will die. And this is before all the other stuff came out, all the other stuff came out. He just flat out told me, he said, you're with your heart condition, you're better off trying to deal with COVID than this other stuff. Matt says most issues can be fixed with diet change and natural remedies. Well, you know what, Matt? I'm going to take it one further. I'm going to go back to what Sherry said. Ch- Change your lifestyle. You got to change your lifestyle. Diets. Uh, diets. What did Richard Simmons used to say? Diets have the word "die" in it for a reason. You know, change your lifestyle. Change what you're eating, uh, and how you're eating. Get those natural remedies. Absolutely. You know, that's one of the things I like about this place is I built those beds out right out in front of the house so that Yoda can put her medicinal herbs in there, and we've even got a medicinal herb garden for our chickens. In the summertime, the the little the little bed on the north side of the metal chicken coop, the metal one, is full of stuff that the chickens can eat, and they'll eat it if they're feeling out of whack. They'll go find the one that makes them feel better, and they'll go eat it. And there's like oregano and oh gosh, I can't remember all I think there was some wormwood in there and oregano and something else. Not parsley. It was some other herb. He didn't mean diet, being on a diet. Oh, just okay. I'm tracking. I'm tracking, Matt. Sometimes you got to get me up to speed, dude. Seriously, you guys got to keep me. Uh, you got to keep me on the up and up. Uh, all right. Well, listen. I appreciate everybody that stopped by. Here, let's do this again, just so anybody that came in late. That was me, October 11th, and that was pre-carnivore. That was 4 days before I started the carnivore, and that's me now. That's me now. Feel so much better. Matt, I've never done acupuncture. I've had people tell me it does wonders for them. Sabotage, absolutely. Yep. Well, that it's a multi-million-dollar industry. They don't want people changing their lifestyles. They want people changing their diets. They want them to buy the books and buy the foods and everything. So they don't want you. I did Weight Watchers. I had great success on Weight Watchers. But who was it? Sherry was absolutely spot on. Once you stop doing Weight Watchers, guess what happens? It comes right back. You know, these people that lose weight on Weight Watchers, they pay Weight Watchers. I okay. This is anecdotal. So if you've done Weight Watchers and you kept it off any other way than what I'm about to say, then good for you. But everybody I know that's done Weight Watchers, as soon as they got off of Weight Watchers, the weight went right back on. What happened to me? What happened to a whole bunch of people? So and it's like that with all of them. Starla, I need to talk further about this, please. Well, Starla, anytime you can drop us a line or give Yoda a call and be more than happy to talk about it. I wanted to get her to come in here and talk a little bit about cooking carnivore for a split household carnivore for me and uh, regular meals for her. But she's in there. She's processing. One of the local stores had chicken thighs and legs on sale for like $1.97 a pound, which it was outrageously low right now. Uh, Matt says back surgery in 09, needed another in 10, found acupuncture, no surgery. Well, awesome, man. Awesome. I'm going to wrap it up. We've been at this for a little over an hour, and I appreciate you guys stopping by. Anybody that is watching this down the road and the replay, stopping by and listening to me ramble. We got a good virtual community here. If you're not part of it, I highly encourage you to subscribe and become part of our little community that we're building, because they really do. We share experiences with each other. We're always learning from people. Share this with somebody that might find it helpful, might find it entertaining. Listen to the old fat dude ramble on about what he eats. Most of all, I want everybody to go out there tomorrow morning. Go Go get some sleep. Like Starla said, get a good night's sleep. But when you wake up in the morning, go pursue a life done free, okay? Take care.